Welcome to B-Flow Sessions, the podcast where we help you find and stay in the flow on the water and in life. I'm your host, Brad Burton. Join me as I sit down with paddlers, athletes, and adventurers who are all seeking the flow. B-Flow Sessions is brought to you by our friends at Pecan Kayak Retreat. Are you dreaming of a Chilean whitewater escape this winter? Picture turquoise rapids, warm sunny days, and world-class rivers for every skill level, all based out of a riverside retreat built by paddlers for paddlers. If that sounds like your kind of winter, then Pecan Kayak Retreat is the place. To learn more or to book your dream kayak trip, reach out to me directly at bflowkayak@gmail.com and I'll help you get connected. B-Flow Sessions is powered by Dagger Kayaks. Wherever there's water, Dagger Kayaks will help you find your flow. Team-tested, paddler-proven designs for all paddlers and all water. And thanks to our partners at Sawyer Paddles, Stohlquist PFDs, and Level 6 Gear for keeping us in the flow. Welcome to the next episode of B-Flow Sessions. I'm the host, Brad Burton, and I am joined in this episode by someone that I have known for a very, very long time. I've had the privilege of kayaking with lots of different places. We taught kayaking together at the NOC. I'm just so thankful that she spent some time and get to see her again. Kesha Thompson, thanks for being on B-Flow Sessions.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so Kesha started kayaking at the age of 5. Her dad got her involved, at the on the Nantahala just at a very young age. She then, like I said, went to work at NOC and was one of the best instructors during that late '90s, early 2000s. I know a lot of people, Kesha, they have like their sweet spot of when they think like kayaking and instructing was at its peak at the NOC, and we hear about all the people who came before our generation, but I have a soft spot for our generation there, that late 90s to mid 2000s. I think, we had some pretty top notch instructors there, and you were amongst the very best. She also was the winner of the green race in 2000, her first ever green race. She happened to also be the winner there, and has kayaked all over the world and is still paddling. And we're going to hear a lot more about that. So again, Kesha, welcome to the show.
Thanks again.
So I mentioned the your dad taking you out on the river, at like 5 years old. Tell us about that and finding your flow in kayaking.
Yeah, I was lucky enough that my dad got into whitewater after my parents split, and he decided to get my sister and I into it as well. So he bought it was a solo canoe that he turned into a tandem, and he put me in the front, my sister in the back. So he taught us how to be open canoers, and that's how we spent our weekends. I just kind of fell in love with it at that point.
Mm.
And he had a Perception Mirage Classic. I think most people probably don't know what that is if they're current in whitewater, but it's probably, I don't know, 13, 14-foot boat. And I was 5, and I'd hop in that thing and surf little waves and just had the best time ever.
Nice. And where were you all based out of when you were coming up to the river every weekend?
We were in Austin, Texas, actually.
Okay.
My dad had a lot of friends that used to work at the Nantahala. There was a woman, Ann, that worked there in the 70s, so they taught us how to paddle. There was a guy, Fred Zacks, that wrote a canoe book back in that era. Then, yeah, we were just kind of exposed to all these kind of great whitewater people at such a young age, so it was a really fun way to grow up.
So you graduated, like you finished high school in the Austin, Texas area?
We moved back to Colorado when I was 7, and there was actually not as much of a whitewater community there. So my dad taught my mom and my stepdad how to canoe, and we would go on vacations together and canoe camp. My mom and my dad and my stepdad and some other friends, and my sister, myself, and a couple other kids. It was a lot of fun. So.
And what year did you first make it to the NOC?
I went to the NOC in I want to say it was 98 that I made it
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
yeah. So that was my first season, and I worked in the instruction reservation department. Yeah. And then I started teaching, I want to say the following year in 99. And
Sounds about right. Yeah.
yeah, I went to Ecuador like right at the beginning of 1999. So I think we went in January of 99, our first time. I went with Andrew Wilmot.
Pete Gallo was on it.
Pete was not on the first trip. I think he came on
Okay.
the second trip. Yeah. So the first trip it was with Sean Lonan and Kevin and Anna, Kevin Mitchell. Yeah. And then Daniel Maley and myself. Andrew
Nice.
Moore. Yeah, it was a nice little team to have down there. So it
And
wasn't the Ecuador that you go to today. It was pretty
yeah,
different. Yeah, much smaller,
primitive.
a lot more primitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean in Tana, where the bus station is now, it's kind of the center of town. But when we went there the first year, it was on the outskirts of town. So if anyone spent time in Ecuador, you can sort of determine how vastly different it is. Yeah.
Now, a lot of that crew ended up on the Foodala. I was on the Foodala Food then that winter working for Chris Spilius, and a lot of that crew went after Ecuador went to Chile. Were you on that trip?
We went to Chile the following year, so in 2000. So we went back to Ecuador. We were there for 2 months, and then we went down to Chile after that.
Yeah. So that's the trip Pete was on then. So yeah, so it was that next winter.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the Foodala Foo is still just the most epic. I mean, my favorite river of all time.
beautiful. It's so pristine and so clear.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about your flow guides? Who were your first mentors?
In Whitewater,
Yeah.
gosh, I remember really looking up to Buffy Bailey. I don't think that she knows that about me, but I was always impressed with her and Sondheimer, both just incredible female kayakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maria Noakes, Whitney Lonsdale. It was cool to see like so many strong women in whitewater. And I think I discovered that more coming to the southeast than I did anywhere else paddling.
Yeah.
So just didn't seem to be a lot of women back in the day that paddled a lot. So
Yeah, and it's continued to grow, right? I mean, I had Sage Donnelly on, and we talked about how just there's so many more women paddling today, and each generation stands on the shoulders of the previous generation. Like you stood on the shoulders of Whitney and Buffy, and but there was people who stood on your shoulders, and then continued to do so. I mean, I even the folks like Adrian and things like that that kind of started dominating the green race. But kind of after you and the Katie Hillickys and the Stacy Hears and like Nikki Kelly were some of the kind of the first females to really charge in the green hard. And then now like the green races, I mean, now it's coming back, but before old green race, like it was full of just really awesome female paddlers who were charging hard.
I love to see it, just to see the Green River takeover and see how many women are running the upper and the narrows and the camaraderie. And I'm always impressed with the female paddlers too, because they're usually very career oriented. So they're not only doing cool things on whitewater, but they're doing cool things in their personal, professional life as well. So it's a
Yeah,
lot of fun to see. It's cool to be a part of. So
absolutely. Yeah, just and people like Anna Levesque and everything that she does with all the like the instruction for women and things. So I feel like women in whitewater are so much more, and it's probably women in general, just the whole men and women being different thing, but women certainly will compete with each other and want to win and want to train, but they seem to be really encompassing and welcoming, and it's like this is our community. Where sometimes I feel like the males, at least maybe not as much anymore, but back in the 90s and 2000s, like we're in camps. You had your camps of like who you were sponsored by, or we're creek boater and you're a play boater, or we're a slalom boater, and there's like it was all this like testosterone macho stuff, that didn't allow for everybody to just be happy to be on the river. Not always, but it seems like the women were always just like we're a crew.
I yeah, it's hard to say. I feel like I've always felt very welcome by other female paddlers, and I hope to be the same for others, you know?
Yeah, I think the
Um,
women always do that for sure.
yeah. Yeah, it's a cool. I think the whole community is great actually in Whitewater. It's pretty
It's
nice.
it's one of the things I love about it is somebody who's getting back into the sport, like the amount of people who have reached out and just been so welcoming. Um, just like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome you're back paddling again. And it's been really just amazing reconnecting with the community. And that was one of the reasons by doing this podcast is it gives me an excuse to sit down with awesome people like you, some old friends like you, and then I've been meeting and getting to talk to people I've never met before that I'm getting to know. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
What about perfect flow is the next question. This is a time when everything just went perfect on the river. The stars were aligned. It was just like the perfect day. I'm sure you had lots of these, but
Yeah, I would say run and go left. I had just a moment where everything slowed down and it's like your vision just becomes sharp. I could see every drop of water as it went by my face, and it was just like the perfect line through the little notch at the bottom. It was pretty incredible.
do you think being a coach and a former athlete, I do a lot of reading and studying on like, you know, training and getting into, instead of the flow, maybe people call it the zone. Do you
Mhm.
remember when that occurred? And do you think that like your kind of your paddling and your peak were kind of at your paddling was at its peak at that moment and you just were in the zone because you had gotten so good with your skills that your senses just kind of let go and you almost like an out of body experience?
Have you ever heard of Stephen Kotler? He wrote a
Maybe.
book called The Rise of Superman. And it's kind of the psychology of sport.
Yeah.
And it's really good, especially since you're doing this podcast about flow. And he talks about the flow state of sports. And his philosophy is more or less when you hit that flow state where everything just kind of lines up and it's perfect, it's just pushing your skill set to where you're a little bit nervous but not scared, because if you're scared then you'll mess up, and then if you're not scared at all you become complacent and you're more likely to mess up. But if you're just kind of nervous about it, there's a state where everything just falls into place and you're able to do stuff kind of automatically. Your body takes over and your mind just kind of like slows down and takes everything in. It's he equates it to being high on heroin, which I've never done, but it's pretty good if that's the case, you know, if that's the state that you get into. And that's why there's athletes are constantly looking for this state of flow where you can, because all the hormones that your body releases during that time frame,
Right.
it's
It's that
kind of
healthy
similar.
that healthy dopamine.
A healthy high, yeah,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
also
No,
like
just
super functional. So
yeah, absolutely. Just you describing that, seeing like every drop of water. Um, I don't know if you remember, did your group that winter on the Food of Food, there was like probably the most like greatest collection of world class paddlers on that river because you had the international rafting championships, so you had all these rafters there. Paddling magazine came down to do things on it. You had all the guides and things that were working there. You guys came down. Adventure Quest was there with all their people.
yeah.
And I just didn't hear about too many people running Zeta that winter because it's a really challenging, intimidating, and consequential rapid. And I spent all winter there working and did not run Zeta until like the last week of the season. And it was just me and Chris Bilius, and he was walking it. I'm like, this is Chris Bilius. He's like one of the ones that discovered this place, and he's walking. I'm like, I see the line, and it literally was like running a class 2 rapid. It was just doo, 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 no problem because I was in the flow. It wasn't, just it was just magical in that moment. Another day it could have been disastrous.
Yeah.
Um, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Just like your boat's on that perfect line, and it's yeah, flow state for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good feeling. I would. I do feel like there's always a quest to kind of, I don't know if it's competency in whitewater, right? Because there is a certain amount of competency when you hit that state, you know that you're just on your game and you just want to be in that spot always, right? When you're paddling. Because you have off days. I don't know. I guess I'm getting to the age now where when you have your off days, it's easier to just. I do not have a problem putting my kayak on my shoulder and walking down, like walking around a rapid if I am not feeling it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have been there very recently, and yeah, I'm all about the slow pace now of rediscovering flow. I'm on a mission to find flow again, but it's gonna be a longer journey than it was 25 years ago when I started.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Let's eddy out and take a quick break. Do you need a break from the cold of a North American winter? Then let's head south to the best whitewater on earth at Pecan Kayak Retreat. Email me at bflowkayak@gmail.com to learn more about how you can take the ultimate paddling adventure in the heart of Chile. Now let's peel out and head downstream.
Well, speaking of that, when are some times when the flow was maybe not there? I call this section flood. Now, sometimes floods are great, but times when like I was not in the flow or the flow was way too much and I got out of control on the flow. What about that?
Yeah, yeah, that as well. I was on the Russell Fork and it was a high release weekend and it had been like a heavy rain season, so there was even more flow in it. And at Tower, there's a line where you just like take a little booth to the right and there's a little you go between a rock in this area and it's no big deal. And I made the booth and I thought I had a really good line and there was a surge and it pulled me right back into the hydraulic.
Mm,
That hydraulic is backed up by a big rock. And when I went into it, I did like a reverse flat and got stuck in a vertical position in my boat. It wouldn't flip me, it just kept me vertical with my
mm.
head behind the drop.
Oh,
I ended up swimming. My boat went right out and I just got recirculated for a really long time. I guess that rock is undercut. I was in it long enough that I went limp and I got sucked under the undercut. And then I knew there was an undercut kind of on River Right. And as I was coming up to the surface, I could see I was going under that undercut. And I didn't make it to the surface and I got sucked under again. And I went under that undercut. And then I popped to the surface and took the biggest breath of air I've ever had in my life.
mm.
And was still was with Andrew for the second time at that time. I came up and he was pretty panicked, but grateful that I made it to the other side. And that's another river you have to kind of keep paddling.
Yeah.
I have really only paddled that river a couple times, and I can't remember the bigger rapid that's on there.
El Herindo, maybe.
Yeah, I ended up walking everything except for that one randomly because I could see the line, but everything else, and then I just felt like my flow was off after that. Well, I felt actually pretty good, and then I swam a rapid in Ecuador. We went back
Mhm.
to Ecuador that year, and then it was just like I kind of took a hiatus because I got scared.
Yeah.
It was like that second swim triggered something, and then as soon as you're nervous, like it didn't matter how easy the line was. It was just like you're off balance because you're rigid and you just mess up.
It's so amazing how it destroys your confidence and how that affects everything else.
Yeah, yeah, it was unfortunate. So it took me a while to get back in the saddle. But
What did you do to get back confidence wise?
like we were talking about kind of before the recording, just having that progression. You said that you've been kind of doing that a little bit more and just running stuff. I thought I was going to be a class 3 paddler again for the rest of my life, and then you start wanting more. Then you're like, okay, I'm gonna start paddling.
Yep.
This is great. Class 4 is fun. Class 4 is fine. And then you're like, oh yeah, that rapid looks pretty good. And then you're running class 5 before you know it. And You know,
Three
I
months
don't.
ago, I would have told you I would have been perfectly content of running the Akoi for the rest of my life. And now I definitely have bigger plans. Not big plans like, going to California and running Fantasy Falls or, good, multi-day class fives, nothing like that. But I definitely want to be back where I feel confident and competent on, some easier Southeast class five for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It creeps up on you before you know it. There you are.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I think I could still do that. Uh, for sure. What about low flow? I know right now you're dealing with an injury,
Mhm.
and sometimes maybe when you've been out of kayaking for various reasons.
Yeah. So what I do when I'm not kayaking, or what I do when I'm not able to kayak big stuff.
Both. Any?
Um, yeah, I was doing some slalom paddling when my shoulder was initially injured and trying to build up strength, doing a lot of rehab for that. And the slalom's great. You're working on your precision and relatively low risk whitewater. And I have some really good friends, Susanna and Michael, that have kind of gotten me into it, and
Cool.
they're amazing and love it. And then there are times when I don't kayak at all, and I will be backpacking or hiking or running. I've been doing a lot of running. I did just also tear my meniscus, which is a little bit of a bummer.
Mm,
Um, I also paraglide, and yeah, I just like to be outside
that's awesome.
wherever I can be outside. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm one of those like I love the outdoors. Don't get me wrong. Like you're not probably not going to be. I mean, maybe I guess you could now with these urban whitewater parks, you could be somebody who likes kayaking, but not the outdoors. So I love the outdoors, but it's weird. I other than biking, I never and I like dabbled in snowboarding. When I say dabbled, I've been like 10 times.
Hmm.
I've never been one to really fully enjoy to the point where I'm going to like seek them out other outdoor pursuits. If I've been hiking or camping, it's always been as a residual of doing it because I needed to for kayaking.
Yeah, I love it all. I'll bike, I ski, I do a lot of backcountry. Well, I was in Colorado the last 2 years, so I started doing backcountry and a lot of skate skiing, which is like a really random cardio sport that's fun.
Oh, cool.
It's good to do with the dog. And
So tell us what that is.
it's like cross country, but like you're skating on skis, so it's a little bit faster. It's like running on skis. It's great. But it's usually like a pack track. It's on a Nordic track, and it's great for the my dog loves it. So it's packed, so it's not so hard. Like the backcountry can be hard because he sinks in the snow and it's harder for him to run with
Right.
me. But on the track he can run with me all day long. So yeah.
Um, what about the current? What you do to find flow in kayaking today? And I know you're still recovering from your injury. And then before we started recording, you were telling us about a potential really epic adventure that you might have coming up.
Yeah. So I might have an opportunity to move to Colombia for some time. Um,
And in
so
case anybody's confused, like I originally was, we're talking about Colombia, the country.
not South Carolina.
I,
Although
for
I'm
for
sure Columbia, South Carolina is great.
Yeah, for full transparency, when we were talking earlier, I was like, "Oh, cool! It sounds like a nice city, and you won't be too far from Whitewater." That's what. And then she keeps telling us about this adventure. I'm like, "Oh, she's talking about the country." So continue. Tell us more about what all Columbia is going to offer you.
Yeah, I think there's some career opportunities there as far as it's a little bit cheaper to live. I've been trying to create these continuing education credits for massage therapy so that I can get out of nursing
Mm,
eventually. So it'd be a little bit easier to do that. The other aspect of it is it's some of the best paragliding in the world. They do a lot of distance flying, and it's beautiful, pretty temperate weather. Um, and then there's all this kind of untapped and new discovering whitewater that's out there. And a lot of forest, jungle, places to discover, explore. Um, and I love to just be in nature and see what's out there.
Yeah.
I know there's also like gorilla areas where there's a lot of gorillas and stuff, so I'm gonna try to not like monkey gorilla, but like war gorilla
Right.
humans.
Well, that's what was going to be my next question. Colombia gets, I think, sometimes a bad rap, but I think also stereotypes sometimes are based on observation. And so Colombia kind of has a reputation for having some dangerous areas. Have you kind of scoped out where you will be, versus kind of where some of the places you want to avoid are?
We're still trying to figure that out. It would most likely be, I mean, there are a lot of expats that live there. It's going to be between Cali and Medellin is where we're mostly looking. There's a river valley there, and it's like a corridor where there's paragliding up and down that area. It's supposed to be incredible. But then you also have a lot of mountains and rivers. Um, it's kind of cool the way that the mountains, it makes almost like a Y, the way the Andes go up. So you have these multiple mountain ranges,
That's cool.
um, where yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think, I've met a lot of people that have been there. It's not as dangerous as it used to be. A lot of the drug trafficking has gone to Mexico.
Right.
So there are still obviously some cartels that are in Colombia, but it's not the stronghold that it used to be. And
I was going to say, by my knowledge of Colombia is based on the show Narcos and that Medellin to Cali river there, man. That was like that's a place you want to avoid. But I think that was back in the 80s.
they've come a long way since the 80s, is my understanding. So it's
I think
to
so
be
too.
determined. I'll
But
keep you posted.
great show though, Narcos. Shout out. It's a great show.
I probably will not check it out because I don't need to get any bad ideas in my
I would
brain.
not. Yeah, it's not what you want to watch before going to live in Colombia for sure. um, well, that is awesome. I can't wait to for you to get to experience that and get to see you post on it and get to hear about Colombia and maybe you'll open up Ecuador. You guys were some of the maybe not right the first, but kind of that next wave of kayakers to kind of explore Ecuador. You and the group you're with laid a lot of the foundation for now Ecuador is this hotbed for kayaking, and maybe Colombia will become that as well.
Oh, I give Dan Dixon a lot of credit for Ecuador for sure. He definitely showed us a lot of spots down there, and he's pretty incredible. Still living down there, so good person to connect with. And then Juliet with
Mhm. ERA, yeah,
in this river adventure. They've been down there for a long time as well.
they have for sure.
Yeah,
Juliet's one of our. She's scheduled to come on the show.
good. I'm
So,
so glad. She's amazing. I love her
she
so much.
is. I got to paddle with her and Whitney and Jennifer Jennings, Nick Williams, like we all and Pete, we all paddled on the Ocoee just a couple weeks ago. It was amazing. Whitney was in from Montana. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And Steinheimer's kid and Whitney's kid were with us too. And it was so funny. These kids are like, they're like 10, 11, 12 years old, great ripping paddlers. Like you don't need to pay any attention to them. But the two of them, these, I mean, the adults that I just named combined, I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say we have over 1,000 trips down the Ocoee. And these two, like I said, perfectly ripping paddlers, but they've been down it a dozen times. And they just hung out with each other and they would get to the top of rapids and they would like boat scout and like whisper to each other, where do you think we should go? Where should we go here? And again, like, you've got the moms and these, other paddlers with you that have done this thousands of times. They didn't want to talk to us, and we just let them be. And it was so cool to see these kids just kind of figuring it out, not where do I go here. They were in, now that they knew that we were right there in case they needed us, which they did not. But it was so much fun to see.
Yeah, they're fantastic. We got to go to, was it Port or Giles kayaking?
I think it was Port.
Port, yeah. We
Yeah.
went to Africa with them. So,
Oh,
and he was
cool.
there as well. It was a fantastic trip. So it was fun to see. It's cool to see because I didn't have kids, so just watch my friends' kids grow up and turn into these incredible young adults. It's pretty amazing to watch.
It is, and it's funny to see like you see the little bits and pieces of both parents, right? In this blend of them, it's pretty amazing. This next segment is flow advice, and I want you to think about two groups of people here. A beginner kayaker could be any age, somebody just starting the sport, and then also an older person returning to the sport. I fit that bill, but lots of people I think are rediscovering the sport and rediscovering their flow. So, what
Mhm.
flow advice would you give to those two groups of people?
Oh, to both of them, I would say just make it fun. If you're not having fun, it's not worth it to me. It doesn't matter if it's going on a flat river, looking at the scenery, or a big river is, and then the second advice would be safe,
Yes.
but have fun. And as you progress and start doing bigger stuff, do the whitewater rescue and know what you're doing and set safety and um, just be aware of the dangers and be as safe as you can. I guess would be the second advice that I have after the fun.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I love it. This next segment is kind of our rapid fire segment. It's called Running the Rapids, and you and I have ran lots of rapids together. So we're gonna run another set of rapids here. So I'm going to give you a category of kayaking, and you're going to give me like your Mount Rushmore of these topics.
Okay.
All right. So the first one is kayak designs. Your favorite kayak designs of all time.
Oh, I really like the Zets. I like the cross a lot. It's like riding a Cadillac, and the older I get, I love it. It's
Okay.
easy. Yeah. It's
Very cool.
fast. It doesn't get stuck in holes. It's great.
Yeah, these new designs with the big bow rocker and the way they just glide right over top of stuff is pretty sweet.
It's amazing. It's so
Yeah,
easy.
it it really is. It's a lot of fun. Yeah,
I've gotten lazy. It's like the one stroke, it's like, oh, wait, oh, one stroke, one stroke.
yeah, yeah, for sure. They're kind of cheat codes. What
Mhm.
about rivers of all time?
Oh, that's a tough one. I love the green 1.0. It taught me so much on so many different levels. And then Zambezi was amazing, like relatively low risk and a lot of fun. Um, there's so many rivers in Chile that the Claro was phenomenal. Nevados was scary, but like one of the prettiest rivers. Ravens Fork, gorgeous.
Yeah,
Just I love it when you're in nature and you get to see how beautiful things are when they're relatively untouched.
right.
Um, but yeah, there's so many. Linville's got my number. I've not successfully actually kayaked that river yet, but
Okay.
maybe one day it will happen.
Countries to paddle in.
Oh, Chile's great. It's just so clean and it's so easy. Ecuador was amazing. Again, so easy, but the rivers are a little bit dirtier there. Take some antibiotic. But yeah, there again, like so many different countries to still go visit to
Well,
be determined.
that's good because the next question is, give me a river that you've not done yet but you want to.
Oh, the rapid that I've always wanted to do is Garganta del Diablo in Chile. It's on the Rio Claro, and conditions were perfect to run it. And I had like an injury, and I tried to put on, and I had so much pain. I felt like it wasn't fair to the people I was with to continue because I didn't want to be the rescue that
Yeah.
had to get removed from that canyon, and it's pretty committing once you're in there. So I have yet to do that. It's still on the list. It's pretty high on the list.
Okay. Paddlers of all time.
Oh,
Who you think is like, the goats, or just who your favorite people could be, however you want to look at it.
growing up, besides all the awesome women that I got to look up to that really paved the way, I always loved Clay Wright, really good paddler,
Yeah.
awesome human.
Yes.
So Yeah, he'd be up on that list.
For sure. All right. Final flow. This is where the river goddesses have come down. You know, there's all these things that we do in life that we do for the last time and we don't realize it. Where I think
Mhm.
if we did realize it was the last time, we might like really cherish it. So the river goddesses have come down and they said, Kesha, the bad news is this is your last time on the river. But the good news is you can be any age you want to be. You can be on any river, in any boat, and with any people.
Oh, I like this goddess. So many choices. You know, as many times as I've run the green, if it were my last time, I would want the original green. I would love to be on that river with Paul Carmichael.
Mm,
So much fun. Probably Susanna von Montaigne and Michael Montaigne. And um, probably Steve Augustine would be on that
very
list. There's so many good people to pick to go on the river with. Can I just have all my friends from North Carolina join me?
absolutely. It's your final flow.
Maria Notes.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, Buffy Bailey. Come on. Who else can we get on that river? I'd take Vida Hillicky or Dillard now. Sorry. Yeah. Come on, Brad. You can join me.
All right. Well, I appreciate you inviting me on your final flow. You you can be on mine as well, but it's going to be on the Fuda. So
Okay, I'd go.
yeah, convinced. Say less, right?
Twist my arm.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
um I'm still coaching basketball, and I was the girls are like, the coach had them do like down and backs, and I ran with them all last week, and this girl was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm being chased. And she's like, who's chasing you? I said, Father Time. And I know he's gonna catch me, but I'm gonna keep running. I'm gonna keep running until he does. Same, I know you're the same way. It's like I'm gonna keep paddling and running. And is it paragliding you're doing, right?
yeah,
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 paragliding, hiking, you're going to do all the things. Mother and father time, they're going to catch us eventually.
yeah.
The more we run, the more we paddle. I think the farther we stay ahead of them for just a little bit longer.
I agree. I hope so. If not, I'm gonna enjoy it until then.
That's exactly right. If it's going to catch me tomorrow, at least I'm going to have fun while it lasts.
Exactly. I do try to live that way.
That's
So
awesome. Well, it's been, I know, 20 years since we've seen each other, but the power of social media, we get to stay in touch and still see each other, what we're doing in each other's lives. But it was really great to reconnect with you and to have you on B-Flow Sessions. Thanks so much for being here.
thanks so much for having me. It's great to see you, Brad.
All right, take care.
You too. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of B-Flow Sessions, where we explore how paddlers find their flow on the water and in life. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the show, leave a rating, or share it with a friend. It truly helps us grow the community. And a huge thank you to Pucón Kayak Retreat for sponsoring today's episode. If you're ready for a world-class Chilean whitewater adventure, email me at bflowkayak@gmail.com and I'll help you get dialed in. Until next time, keep finding your flow.